Join me in the pledge of the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting of the Bryan Board of Public Affairs for March 1st, 2022. First on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the February 15th, 2022 meeting.
Seeing no additions or corrections, Jim, we make a motion to adopt or accept February 15th minutes as written.
I'll second.
Dick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Next is a hearing of public concerns. Anyone present that would like to address the board that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, next up is a resolution. Lori, would you number and read, please?
Resolution number 12, 2022, to amend section 302 of the City of Bryan Handbook regarding holidays to add Juneteenth as a paid holiday.
Sorry.
That's okay. At this time, we are requesting that Juneteenth be added to the holiday schedule for the City of Bryan Municipal Utilities Handbook. It is recognized as a national holiday as of June of 2021, and City Council has approved this for the other parts of the city, and so we're asking that the utilities follow suit.
So this is just a formality then?
Just a formality, yes, please.
Well, I'll make a motion that we accept Resolution 12 to add Juneteenth to our City of Bryan Handbook.
Second.
Karen?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is another resolution. Lori, would you number and read, please?
Resolution number 13, 2022, authorizing a memorandum of agreement with local union number 245 of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers to amend Article 25 of the collective bargaining agreement regarding holidays to add Juneteenth as a paid holiday.
Jackie.
So again, this is just another formality. We are in strong belief that the IBEW employees should have the same holidays as all other city employees, and so we are requesting that we be able to move forward with this memorandum of agreement.
Well, I'll make a motion that we accept Resolution 13, adding Juneteenth to the bargaining units contract. I'll second it.
Karen?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next up is another resolution. Lori, will you number and read, please?
Resolution number 14, 2022, authorizing the Director of Utilities to advertise for bids for the Bryan Water Treatment Plant South High Pressure Filter Rehabilitation Project.
Again, this is asking for permission to advertise for bids to rehabilitate our south high-pressure filter. The filter's primary function is to remove iron and manganese. It was constructed in 1973. It contains sand and gravel media. In early 2020, we rehabilitated the north filter under emergency conditions. We had some structural failures. And the media itself wasn't filtering as effectively as it should. We budgeted for it in 2021. We had the unforeseen expense of purchasing a dump truck, and we had to push this project off to 2022. We did budget for it this year. The project would consist of removing the sand and gravel, installing the under drain, and making any necessary repairs. We would like your permission to move forward with this project.
Yeah, I know we discussed it, that it needed to be done too, but with the COVID, we were watching our bucks. We decided that you would purchase the dump truck. We hold off 1 more year, so here we are.
Yeah, it sounds like something we need to address.
Yeah. So I'll make a motion, we adopt resolution number 14.
I'll second.
Dick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, Terry.
Next up is another resolution. Lori, we number read.
Resolution number 15, 2022, authorizing the advertising for bids for the Waterline Extension Project, East Wilson Street, County Road 8.
Yeah, as you guys, I'm sure you recall, we've had a request for a water main extension by AirMate that would ensure them adequate fire protection for the expansion of their business located out on County Road D. Prior meeting, I think we discussed the department's rules and regulation that states the property owner or developer requesting extension shall be responsible for the plans and estimates in accordance with utility specification and standards and the costs associated with the construction and installation of the water main. That's basically what our rules and regs state. Over the years, Bryan Municipal Utilities received numerous requests by AirMate concerning this water main extension. We prepared several estimates over the years. And we've currently been asked by AirMate, again, to proceed with this project. So I've been in some conversations with Carol, and she's asked us to proceed with this. They're currently in the process of seeking funding for the project. Due to these types of funding being applied for, BMU will need to be involved with this project and the bidding part of it in order for her to take advantage of some of this funding that she's seeking. We have given priority to this project. We've assisted in every way that we can. We've completed the engineering for the project. We acquired Ohio EPA plan approval, which we just got back a few weeks ago. BMU, in conjunction with the city, have been working together to secure an easement for this project on the north side of County Road D there in the field. This easement, we hope, will substantial cost savings due to pavement replacement, getting it out of the road and putting it in the field should be a substantial savings to our and AirMate. The project includes the installation of approximately almost 700 feet of new 12-inch and approximately 1,577 feet of 8-inch PVC water line. So at this time, we're requesting BPA advertise for construction and installation of the project. AirMate has agreed that prior to award, that they will solely be responsible for the costs associated with this project. So in other words, before we're going to go out for bid, we'll find out what those costs are. She would like to be building here, I believe she said in May. So we want to get this out there as fast as possible. We're still waiting on the easement and getting the EPA plans back. Usually this takes us almost a year from start to finish to do a project like this. I just want to point out that we've kind of dropped what we were doing to help this proceed, to do everything in our power that we could do to help this process. And so I'm hoping that we come back with good numbers as far as when we get these bids back. It's a terrible time of year with construction costs, rising and things that we're talking about, lead times for some of this stuff. So I want to get it out there as soon as possible, and hopefully that we can get some good numbers back. And then prior to us awarding the project, she will basically pay the cost, and then we'll proceed with taking control of the project and inspecting it and doing those types of things.
So we're helping AirMate out all we can so far.
We're right.
I mean, we're trying to get this thing advanced.
Yep.
I'm sure the material costs are going to be high.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like she made out pretty well being able to get the right of way as opposed to
Yeah.
digging the road
Down the center of the road.
Yeah.
Pavement, asphalt is not cheap. I mean, it's all petroleum-based stuff, so that stuff's all going up also. So by getting this We just hope that we can get contractors to bid on this and get a decent price for her. That's my next goal, is that, to be able to help her any way we can to keep those costs down. So that's what we're doing.
The longer you wait, the more expensive it's going to be.
That's right.
Do we have engineers' estimates set yet?
We do. We have a couple, and to be honest with you, I hated to give one, because the last one we did was, the one that she quoted was up there around, what was it? Well over 450, was it $445,000 roughly? We did one in August that was around, 415,000, but some of these costs could come down a little bit, so it's a ballpark. We're still whittling away at that engineering estimate. I'm going to work with Brian Whelan to get a final number, because we need to be within 10% of that. When these bids come in, we can't exceed 10% of that bid, or we have to throw them all out for Ohio Revised Code. So it's important that we do the best that we can to get that number as close to as we can to not delay this any longer. And have to
It's been kind of a crazy process.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be nice to get it out there and get that taken care of for us. I know that they've been looking for it for a long time, so hopefully this.
She seems enthusiastic to get started.
Yeah.
Question?
Motion to adopt resolution 15.
I'll second.
Dick?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Next up is a discussion regarding Bryan Municipal Utilities business hours. Jackie?
I'm going to give a little bit of background so everybody's hopefully on the same page as we get started with the conversation. The HR committee, along with Nate and Derek and I, have had several conversations about the front office and the hours of operation that were open to the public. One of the main reasons we've been looking at it is for safety concerns. We have 2 accounts payable clerks, and they cover the front office. Currently, one leaves at 3:30, and we have one that is scheduled then to work until 4:30. We have one other employee in the building that is scheduled to work until 4:30 as well. Our field employees work 7 to 3, and with the communication department, because they physically go into customers' homes, they work 8 to 4. So we were looking for some consistency, keeping it to just a few schedules, as well as cutting down on overtime for cost. When we have somebody taking off work of the account clerks, it requires somebody else to stay on overtime, so we do not have just one person in the building alone. We don't have bulletproof glass or any of those things that can help protect our employees as customers come in, so we try not to leave just one employee here. So what we did is we started monitoring the office traffic as well as the phone traffic that was coming in and out, and determined that we believe the best office hours to have currently would be 8 to 4. We'd like to try this, and if something doesn't work or we come up with a glitch, then we'll come back and we'll talk again. But we'd like to try moving the office hours 8 to 4, so employees and customers have enough time to prepare. We want to do this effective on May the 1st. Gives us an opportunity to put a note in customers' statements starting mid-March, and run through 4 billing cycles to where we could start that on May the 1st. So, thoughts, concerns? Did I cover everything, Nate? We've talked about so much throughout this and different options. We did come up, the people that will want to come in the most probably before 8 or maybe even after 4 will be contractors. That does happen on occasion. We have spoken to department heads, and engineering is already here and in the building at 7, and we can make arrangements through their office for a contractor to pick something up if they need be, as well as if a contractor needs something after hours, we'll make arrangements for them to get that. We already do both of those things now, so it's really not any different. It's just changing the times.
It looks like you've done all the homework and the study and so forth, and if it doesn't work, we'll address it again and change it, so.
Right.
It's
Come
not
back and
a
adjust.
big deal.
Well, I was always under the impression that the early hours were because of the contractors coming in, but I mean, if we can make arrangements, it's not necessary anymore, yeah. And like Tom says, we can always tweak it if we need to.
It's very rare, to be honest with you, anymore. I mean, when we had a lot of building going on in town, electric meters and stuff like that, it was more of it at that time, but anymore, it's hardly ever, to be honest with you. And most contractors out there are banging around at, 7, 8 in the morning anyway. Usually they're waiting till 8, 9 o'clock at that time anyway to get out there and get moving. And like I said, I'm here at 6:30, Derek's here at 6:30, engineering department's here at 7. We can always make arrangements for those. We know all of the contractors fairly well and have a good working relationship, so that's shouldn't be too bad.
Questions? Comments?
I do want to make sure we do talk about one unknown, and that is the turn-ons for customers. It's going to take a little bit of them getting used to paying their bill prior to 4 instead of waiting until 4:30. But if that does happen, they'll have to have an after-hours turn-on, as well as we'll have to roll somebody on that call. We do those things now. It's just after 4:30 instead of after 4. So.
Do we stand the cost of the after-hours call when we turn on like that?
Pardon?
Do we stand the cost of an after-hours turn on?
We have a cost that's associated with an after-hours turn-on, yes.
Motion makes sense to me.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, do you need a motion or anything?
I would prefer a motion just so there is something on record that shows we just
I think
didn't
it
do
makes
this on
sense
our
to
own.
me, like Tom says, if it doesn't work out, we can adjust it.
Yeah, it's well worth a try.
Pretty simple.
Correct.
Will you track then the, I guess,
The
after hours?
after hours, yes.
We'll see how it goes, like you did
Yeah.
before. Okay.
I'll come back with a report like at 6 months, if that works.
It'll probably help your department too, get people delay payment and they're forced to come in to pay. before
Probably
they-
not so much help for my office because we're still open till 4:30.
Right,
So
but
if you're
they'll be
standing
coming in
there,
earlier.
yeah, if you're standing there at 4:20 and making payment and
Right.
you want to talk to somebody, they're going to have to go through the call process.
Yeah,
So they're probably not going to be too thrilled, and it's going to be the $75 if you're going to charge them the after hours after the 4 o'clock. Even though our office is open, this office is closed.
yeah.
So there's probably going to be some kickback off of that.
Sounds good.
See how it goes. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Jim?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next is a presentation of 2021 in review with the Water Department.
I didn't take it. I didn't see it when I was up there.
Great, somebody stole all my notes.
Do you want my copy?
Got it, Nate, here's your notes. I thought you were looking.
Derek,
I did take your notes.
Okay. That's close. Yeah, no kidding. All right.
So we'll get started, and we're going to look at our water financials, starting with our fund balances. We began the year in the 502 water fund with just over $2 million. We had revenues budgeted at just over $2.4 million, and we came in at almost $2.6 million. So our expenses were budgeted to be about $1.97 million. By being somewhat cautious in our spending, as we were talking about earlier, they came in at about $1.6 million, giving us a net margin of around $931,335. Our debt service was $84,086, which includes the principal payments. We had return funds of $62,323 to the fund balance from the water main project in North Industrial Park. We were able to transfer $290,000 to our 525 capital reserve fund, giving us an ending balance in the 502 of just over $2.7 million, netting $619,571 increase over the year. So the 525, our capital reserve fund, it started out the year with $137,768. We anticipated the $290,000 transfers to the 525, but we ended up with over $1.49 million. This was due to the AMI. The loan proceeds kind of hit that account of just over 1.2. So that's the reason for that jump. We had budgeted capital expenses to be at around $414,000, and we ended up spending a little over $900,000. Again, this is due to the AMI expenses. If that money came in, the money started going out. We started purchasing meters and stuff like that out of that fund. So it's kind of what happened there. We budgeted $414,000. We ended up spending a little over $900,000, mainly due to the AMI, and then we had an ending balance of $714,580, which left us a net margin for the year end at $576,812. So overall, our combined, the 502 and the 525 fund balances began the year with $2.2 million, and we ended the year with just over $3.4, resulting in an increase of almost $1.2 million for the year, which is mainly due to the 1.2 that we brought in for the AMI. This is our debt service for the water department. As you can see on here, illustrates the interest in the 502-1 Water Department Fund, the South Walnut Street Water Main Project, which will be ending finally in 2023, which is a good thing. The Town Line Road Water Main Project, it's a 10-year loan, and it's going to be ending I think in 2029. The AMI loan, which is the 2-year deferred principal first, and then a 10-year level payments to follow. So that's reflected up there. So those are your totals for all of the debt service. This slide is kind of reinforces what we've been discussing. Over the last year, it has the 502 and the 525. The top blue line that shows a big spike in the May to June, which is where we received our AMI loan, so that kind of shot up there. Kind of gives it a good example of there. That was the deposit of the $1.2 million. It also reflects a sharp drop in around October to November there, and that's what we were just talking about, the spending, buying those meters, and you can see it fall there. So you can see even with those big spikes up and down there, you can see that we did have an increase in over 2020, which is kind of what we anticipated and budgeted for. This is what we've been discussing too. I mean, it's in recent years, our total usage has increased in 2019 over in 2020. The total yearly pumpage in 2019 was like around 464 million gallons. In 2020, we had 436 million gallons, and then in 2021, we had 485 million gallons, which is just under 50 million gallons produced over the year 2020. So that blue line is the most recent up there at the 2021. So we're definitely pumping a little bit more water. There's some Usages by class, this is kind of interesting. You can see it includes the free service, the residential, commercial, and our industrial, and this is all in gallons. And you can see our residential customers make up around 41% of our sales. And we had a usage of 134 million gallons in the residential. Last year, it equates to about $1.3 million in revenues just in the residential. Between residential and free service, it makes up almost half of our total water production. And then you take the other half, is basically the industrial and the commercial customers. Kind of nice to see it in that light, just to give you an idea. And it also shows how many customers we have per class up there also. And it gives you a lot of information in that slide. So we have some more statistics here. Everybody loves statistics, and we keep a close eye on them. So this is kind of usage by class for the years 2017 through 2021. And you can see what we had, an increase in 21 in free service. And this could be due to a lot of things. One of them could be the parks reopening and filling the pools up again. We saw a slight decrease in the residential usage for possibly multiple reasons. Some people were going back to work. They weren't in their homes. Rainfall in 2020 was just under 30 inches. And while in 2021 we saw almost 40 inches. So, basically that equates to less people watering their lawns. Our commercial industrial customers saw a slight increase from 2020 from people hopefully going back to work and businesses reopening again. So that kind of reflects that. So overall, we saw slight increases in 2021 over 2020. This just gives a different perspective of kind of what we're talking about here. It gives you the total usage by gallon over the years. Again, you can see the change from the previous years. After a few years of decline there, starting in 2019, we saw a 3% increase in usage over 2020. Another way to look at it. So finally, we have gives us a financial plan. In 2019, we initiated a 3-year water rate plan that went into effect in December of 2019. This will be our final year for that rate increase, so it ends towards the end of this year. So that's the end of the rate increases. And they come at an opportune time. If you saw the loss in 2020, that really helped out the water department by getting that rate increase in there. And you could see that it really helped over that slow time that we had. The rate plan ensured we had sufficient funds for our operation and maintenance, along with our capital improvement projects that we were doing, while meeting all of our debt service and our minimum cash reserve policy that we have. So going forward, we're watching our finances closely. We're adjusting as necessary with the current condition, the rising costs, increased lead times on materials, all those things. Again, as we talked about in the electric, we're still issuing purchase orders quarterly in 2021 instead of yearly blankets that we used to do. I think if for nothing else, it helps me be able to watch exactly where we are all the time instead of having those POs out there, and I know Lori appreciates it too, I think. So we're going to keep a close eye on things, and we're planning on continuing this process through 2022, but with very few minor modifications. And we'll also, like we are in everything, we're taking advantage of our skilled workforce to save in costs over the year too. I'm open for any questions that anybody may have. Okay, if we don't have anything, I'll turn it over to Derek. You can discuss the 2021 year in review for the water department.
The 2021 year in review, we can start at the water plant at the lab. We analyzed 446 bacteria samples. That 446 includes our own routine samples that we're required to do, and it also includes other surrounding public water systems, churches, campgrounds, schools, private owners, and also for the Williams County Health Department. So in order to be able to run those bacteria tests, you have to be certified by the EPA. Once you get your certification, it's good for 3 years. We were up for renewal this year. Both of our operators went through that recertification process with the EPA. Typically, they would come out and they would give you a written test and then a hands-on test in the lab. But due to COVID, it was done virtually. But both of our operators were recertified. Ohio EPA annual monitoring. Every year, the EPA supplies us with a annual monitoring schedule, and that's the requirements that we have to meet of what sampling do we have to do, how many do we have to do, and when we have to do it. So for 2021, we did disinfection byproducts, lead and copper, nitrates, and SOCs. We met all of our requirements, and we had no water quality issues. We talked a little bit about pumpage already, but the total pumpage out of the plant was a little over 485 million gallons. It was 11.2% increase from 2020. Our highest month obviously was in the summer month when it was warm, at a little over 46 million gallons. And then our low month was February at a little over 34 million gallons. EPA requirements, we spent a lot of time at the beginning of the year working on these 3 different plans. The first plan was a risk and resilience assessment. And what we had to do there was we had to evaluate the risk of our operations and our assets. And what they did was gave us like potential threats, to your infrastructure, your communications and things like that. So we had to rank those. Once we completed that assessment, then we could move on to the emergency response plan. And what that plan was basically developing plans and procedures to respond to those potential threats from the risk assessment plan. Those 2 plans were required by the US EPA. We did not submit those, but we had to certify that we had them completed and done, so we did that. The Wellhead Protection Plan, as we know, is intended to protect the underground sources of drinking water. We had to update the management portion of that. We ended up updating the whole thing. We worked with the EPA together on that. And if you remember a couple months ago, Richard Krieger was here from the EPA, and he presented the city and the board with a letter of re-endorsement for the Wellhead Protection Plan, that we had met all the requirements. Water tower inspections. We had the Fountain City Tower and the Bryan Tower inspected this year. It was a little bit different than our normal maintenance inspection. Our normal maintenance inspection, we would drain it, we would wash it out, we would change light bulbs, we would look for, any maintenance items we needed to fix. But this inspection was more for the interior and exterior coating. We knew that the coating system was degrading, it's near the end of its life. So we had it inspected to determine what the coating system was and how much life was left in it. We also looked at compliance with AWWA, EPA, 10 state standards, and Homeland Security. At the end of the inspection, we were presented with some recommendations of how much life is expected in the towers. Water distribution, main replacement projects. Probably the biggest one we did was the 200 to 400 blocks of North Myers Street. We installed a little over 1,400 feet of new 8-inch PVC. We also worked on the 300 block of North Lebanon, 220 feet of 8-inch PVC. And excuse me, and then the 300 block of West Maple Street. Approximately 220 feet of 6-inch PVC. Our crews did all that work. They did a great job. They worked together very well. All of those projects improve the water service reliability, increased firefighting capabilities, and it removed aging and troublesome infrastructure from the distribution system. We were able to remove several lead service lines too as part of those projects. Distribution also upgraded 40 water meter pits. We installed 17 new services. Those services range from irrigation systems to residential to commercial. So we had a few of all the different sizes and types. We repaired 14 water services and we replaced 4 inline valves. A couple miscellaneous projects. We worked on an access road behind the wastewater plant for the electric department. We also demoed 2 of the city-owned rental properties. The top picture there on Butler Street and then the bottom picture there on East South Street. We spent time on the corridor mulching and grinding. And then this past fall, we worked on the site work for the backup generator at the treatment plant. So we had conduit installed, and then you can see a picture of the pad that was poured there too. And we also did some exterior upgrades to the water treatment plant. Upcoming projects for 2022, the 500 to 600 blocks of East Bryan Street. It's approximately 700 feet of 12-inch main that we'll be installing. Those 2 blocks has become a real problem. And it's also an extremely important 2 blocks. So we're looking to get on that as soon as we can. Completion of the backup generator at the water plant. We're hoping that we have all the equipment by the end of this month so we can continue on. The AMI system, obviously installing all the water meters will be a big part of the year. And then the south filter rehab project that we talked about earlier, and also the water tower payments. I also wanted to just take a real quick minute and highlight the engineering department. I have a list of projects up there, and that is by no means all of them, but I just wanted to be able to show you all the work that they do, and that nearly every project that goes through this utility goes through that office, and that we appreciate what they do as well. That is all I have for you. If you have any questions or comments.
I was just wondering, it brought to mind for me when you were talking about the risk assessment. Of course, it would be just for the water side of it, but the cyber threats that they talk about now, has there been any, I don't know, any allowances made, any steps taken in prevention?
So that stuff was involved in that risk assessment and working with Joe and having Joe talk me through all the steps that they have and different levels. I feel pretty confident in what we have.
Okay. Anybody else?
Sounds like all that money we kind of saved and waited around for, we're getting ready to spend. The 2 water tower paintings and a lot of this stuff coming up, so.
Well, you know, I think for a lot of people watching, I've had people come to me and approach me and say, man, you guys are spending a lot of money. I'm so proud of all you guys and the board, because we're so forward thinking. I mean, if you don't take care of that infrastructure, that's what makes us reliable. I mean, we're good. If you don't take care of it, it's going to fail you.
Well, we're playing a little bit of catch up too from COVID last couple of years past. I mean, it's
So it sounds like we're on track for both electric and water and communications.
and then having to throw a new dump truck in on the budget. That
Oh, yeah.
All unexpected
set us back
things.
just a little bit. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Anybody else? Thanks, Derek. Next on the agenda is to effect semi-monthly disbursements. Can I have a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion. We do pay the bills.
I'll second it.
Karen,
Yes.
Annette,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Next is comments from BP and staff. Nate, anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, I actually do. Just a quick update on AMI again. I just want to, this is really kind of still moving forward here and moving as fast as we can move with it for what we're getting as far as materials coming in. But Joe was out there even today. Joe's been out there a lot. He's been configuring these gatekeepers around town. These gatekeepers are what our meters talk to and get on our fiber optics line and bring it back to the head end. And so he put another one in. I think 8 out of 10 of them are out there and actually active. So when we do plug meters in, they're going to be talking to those gatekeepers and they're going to make their way back here to our head end. So just wanted to kind of let you know, as far as that goes, we were able to get a few meters out there just for testing purposes to find out how they were communicating and making it back. Eaton, they'll be here March 7th and 8th. This is who we purchased the thing from. This is the Eaton system. They're going to come in here for training for our employees on some of the software that we'll be using. We got a little taste of it the other day. It was really nice to see, and so I think it's really going to be a great benefit. So I was excited to see that, and I'm excited for them to come in and give us a couple days of training to our employees. We're also in the process, it's getting to that point that we have to really take a look at all of our policies and procedures that we have out there for AMI, and we're working on those now. I sent some to Lori. I'm kind of hurrying. This is something I started a long time ago, and then it's it's coming so fast that I'm trying to hurry and get it done. Derek's kind of looking at it with me, and I sent it off to Lori and Rhonda for their review, but there'll be a few changes. When you have an AMI system, they'll be a little bit different in certain areas that your regular meter reading from it. So I'm trying to get those dialed in and get some stuff going there. Another thing, we got National Employee Appreciation Day coming up this Friday, March 4th. So I wanted to thank all of our employees for everything that they do, which I try to do constantly. But a lot of times they go unnoticed. We get our water guys out there and main breaks in the middle of the night in the winter time, and you wake up in the morning, you turn your water on, and you don't even know they were there. It's just things that people take for granted and don't see. Electric department's out there, restoring customers' power during storms, all hours of the day and night. Our power production plant, they're out there, and they're running generation on the hottest and coldest days of the year. Getting up early, staying late, all of those things. Communications department, they respond to all of our customer needs and concerns, along with managing our system and our network, like we talked about. They keep track of that, and they're able to protect our system, so that they're always doing that. Our engineering employees who prepare and manage all of our projects, the big and small projects, you saw the list there, they're involved in it. A lot of these things that people don't hear, they don't know. Our office employees answer calls, the walk-ins on a daily basis, paying our bills, keeping this place running. We couldn't do this without them, and so I want to thank them all for everything that they do. They're a great asset to this utility, and we couldn't do it without them. So I just wanted to take that time, to say how much we appreciate them. And that's about all I have.
Laura, do you have anything?
No, sir, thank you.
City Council? Derek, any more?
Just real quick, we did receive 4 bids for the solar field lease, and we awarded that at $226 an acre.
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
Newspaper. Anything you'd like to add? No? Okay, Tom?
No, not much. Just thanks Nate and Derek for the presentation and the explanation and update on the AMI. I mean, it's kind of exciting to see, us moving forward on that. Kind of exciting to see how it all ends up. and all your gadget gurus will be able to get on your computer and see in person what's going on with your water and your electricity. By the way, do we have a map where the locations of these,
The gatekeepers?
gatekeepers?
Yeah, we do. We can, if you're interested in seeing where they're at, yeah.
Curious,
Yeah.
see what they look like?
Yep.
Where they are?
Sure.
Interested in them?
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you.
Karen?
Thank you for the water presentation. Very interesting to see what's been done, what's planned. You've got a heavy year, again, some solid, strong projects that will, cover work for a long period of time, years in the future. And so it sounds really good. And if I can add anything else, I'd be interested in hearing more about the communications department, pick up where we kind of left off back in talking about it January, December timeframe.
We actually will. I think at our next board meeting, we've done the electric as far as our, where we're at as far as the year in review. We did the water. We tried to stretch it out, kind of like what the city did, just so we're not sitting there for so long to, we want to keep your interest as much as we can. So the communication department will be our last one that we're having at our next meeting.
I'd just like to say thanks, Derek, for the presentation. Sounds like we've heard from electric, now water. We're heading in the right direction. Got out of 2021. Sounds like unscathed. We ended up faring very well. Again, with the, like you said, Nate, with the employees, couldn't ask for a better. That's what keeps me in this seat. That's why I enjoy doing what I'm doing. Kind of honored to represent them all. Makes me feel pretty good. That's all I have.
Thank you for the presentations, Nate, Derek. Thank you to the employees, because like Nate said, they are the greatest assets of the utility. And that's all.
Yes, they are. Yeah, thanks Nate and Derek for the presentation. In Nate's presentation, you made note of how much our employees do and how much they go above and beyond to save money and time for the utility. We always appreciate that. I'm more than just a little bit excited to see EMI start to come to fruition. So it's good. It's good. And that's all I have. So with that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Dick?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.